Hello, everyone. This is Jackie Rives, your community leader for the Women of the Channel Leadership Network. Welcome to this week's WOW session. Joining me today is Stacey Goodman, Senior Director, North America Channel for Lenovo. Stacey, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Jackie.
All right, Stacey, let's break in with just some icebreakers. So if you would, let me know, how many years have you been part of the channel?
It's been just about 14 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. Where do you live and where did you grow up?
Well, they're not the same. So currently I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, very close to the Lenovo headquarters, just down the street here in the US. But I grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York, which is about an hour north of the city. And so for those of you who are familiar with IBM, it's a big IBM town, and I am a second generation IBMer, legacy IBMers. My dad was with IBM for 30 plus years.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. I love that. And Raleigh's beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
And is it like fall? Today was the first fall day for us here in Georgia.
We have 17 seasons here, and I won't go through all of them, but as soon as this time of year rolls around and it gets cool, we say, oh, it's fall, but then it's really false fall because we get the second wave of summer, and then eventually the weather turns cool. So not quite there yet, but soon enough.
I get that. It's pretty similar down here in Georgia.
Yep.
So Stacey, what is a little known fact about you that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Sure. It doesn't have anything to do with technology, but in my next phase or chapter of my life, post-corporate world, I aspire to open a bed and breakfast with my husband in France. So, and you're all welcome to come stay.
Love that. And in France, I love that. Where is there somewhere in France that you've visited that you are really looking at and that you've loved?
So we took a trip a few years ago to the southern part of France near Provence, and we absolutely fell in love with it. Traveled through a few different regions and stayed at different little chateaus or bed and breakfasts, and we just said we've got to do something here. This place is amazing.
I love that. You'll have to let me know when you do that.
100%.
I will be a guest.
I love it.
All right. What is the most important risk you took and why?
So I would say moving from an individual contributor to a leadership role was the biggest risk for me. It was something that, being a leader wasn't something that really spoke to me, nor did I find myself really drawn towards a leadership position in the early and mid points of my career. So it was definitely something new and somewhat terrifying to me at the time. And even with all of the years of individual contributor experience that I had leading up to that point, this was a whole different ballgame for me, and I really was not sure what to expect. So trepidation going into it, and that for me was a big risk.
Yeah, I can understand that and relate to that. So what was the outcome of it?
So for me, the outcome was that I was able to, continue my leadership trajectory in multiple roles, earning different promotions along the way. But really, most importantly, was that it gave me the time and the resources to understand what leadership really means to me and develop my own style. And what that meant for me was a couple of things. So number one, it was not trying to emulate other leaders that I admired, but rather leaning into specific traits or actions that I could adopt for myself and still bring my authentic self to the game, right? And then the other thing was shifting the focus and the spotlight away from myself as an individual contributor, but onto those that I lead, and what are their aspirations and how could I help guide them towards their goals.
I love that. So what I'm hearing is you have a heart for being a servant leadership and kind of building up those team members. That's wonderful.
You are dialed into my style, girl.
I also love that you were purposely not trying to emulate any other leaders, but kind of taking those positive and maybe some even negative,
Yeah.
traits, and kind of registering those while you developed yourself as a leader.
Yeah, we've all had those experiences where think of a great leader that you had, and what are some of the things that you admired? Think about a terrible leader that you had, and what are some of the things that you don't want to do? So I was able to sort of patchwork something together that, took the best of the best, avoided the worst of the worst, and developed it in a way that felt very real and authentic for me.
I love that. Okay. Have you ever questioned your abilities and qualifications? And if so, how did you overcome that challenge?
100%. Yes, I definitely have had my fair share of imposter syndrome. And typically, this manifests itself for me when taking on new roles and new challenges. I think that we all have a tendency to get excited and feel confident about a new opportunity, on the outset. But once we've had a minute to, let everything sink in and get our feet wet, it's those small doubts and fears that creep into our heads, and that's when we start asking ourselves, what did I just agree to, or what have I gotten myself into? And it's in those moments that I need to remind myself that I was chosen to be here, and someone, or hopefully multiple someones, believed in me and my abilities to do that particular role, mission, or project, or whatever the case may be. And so, in my opinion, I think that questioning our abilities is okay, and it's really where we can, dig deep into finding, areas and places where we can uncover our true potential. And it's really a learning opportunity, in my view. So yes, and it's okay to question those.
I love that. That is definitely going to resonate with people because we all have these doubts. And I love that you put it out there and are sharing your true, authentic self and letting our viewers know that, like, this is normal and this is okay. And it's an opportunity for growth.
Absolutely. Let it be okay. Let feel all the feels, and just, address them head on. Don't avoid it.
Perfect. What is something you've learned that you wish you knew early in your career?
Yeah, this is great because of this organization and of this group of women. I think so many of us can relate to this, but it's the importance of mentors and sponsors. And that's part of the reason why we're all here. And it really wasn't for me until recently that I had a true formal mentor. And I'm thankful for the guidance and the relationship that I've been able to develop as a result of that. But even more so, in my opinion, is the impact of having a sponsor and an advocate. It's literally been a game changer for me. And I can honestly say that I would not be in the role that I'm in today without that advocacy. And it's really helped shine a spotlight on this concept for me, so I can start paying it forward to others, especially women in this industry. And so I look for those opportunities and I embrace them. If I have an opportunity to, I will, gladly be that person for someone else.
I'm going to throw one more question at you that we didn't plan on. And
Okay.
that's just a sentence or two advice to your younger self on, if they're afraid to ask for a mentor because they don't want to put someone out or anything like that. Just a little bit of encouragement on that.
Sure. So my advice would be, don't be afraid to ask. Obviously, I wish that I had learned about these concepts earlier and had the ability to ask. And I think people do feel like you're putting someone out, or they don't have the time, or they're too busy. But true mentors and good leaders, I think, go hand in hand. And it's those people that actually enjoy being mentors for others and helping others navigate through all the different craziness of what comes across in, the daily life. And so personally, I enjoy mentoring other people because it gives me that opportunity to give back. And so I don't want others to feel like, they're putting that I'm too busy for them. I never want to give that perception, because I know how important it is, and how much it's helped me, and I've seen how much it's helped others as well. So it's a true value, and especially, today we're so we've got a lot of attrition discussions going on, the Great Resignation, and how, what are we doing to reverse that. And I think, having mentors and being a mentor is something that is really important, especially in this environment where we can really find key talent and hang on to them and get your arms around them in a way where you develop these personal relationships and provide that guidance for them.
Yeah. And I'd also say it's also fair to say, like, I know from my mentor-mentee relationships, I learned so much from them too. So it's, that it's a two-way street because
100%.
yeah.
You go into it knowing, there are things that I'm going to give and there are things that I'm going to get. And so I think that's the beauty of creating those relationships. Every day you learn something new, and every different mentee mentor relationship takes on its own life, and you come out of that, with more knowledge and more insights than when you had going into it.
Stacey, thank you so much for taking time today to allow us to learn more about you from your experiences. To the viewers, thank you so much for listening. And I encourage you to continue the conversation by commenting. And please, please, please do give Stacey some love for taking the time today to share her story with us and just being her true, authentic self. Until next time, have a great week, everyone.